Hello everyone, Oregon Moto John. We're going to put some heated grips on this Honda 450 RL, dual sport version of the 450. And I chose the Koso Heated Grips because they are narrow. They're a narrow standard width grip. They're soft compound, very similar, maybe slightly softer than the OEM compound, but they're just a normal size grip. Comes with a bunch of throttle cams. I've kind of pre-selected which ones we're going to most likely use. I was debating on putting the G2 throttle tamer, but I have an ECU to put on, so I'm going to go with that. If I use the throttle tamer, I obviously can't use the Koso heated grips. So I've heard with the, you don't really necessarily need both. And the map, I was riding it, the bike with just the stock map and stock throttle, and I was getting more used to the throttle. It's very sensitive, but I was getting better at it. So what I wanted to show you is I just took off, you take the seat off by removing these two screws here. The seat will pull up and back. I took off this side cover. There's just 3 screws here, 1, 2, 3, and then this side cover pulls out after, squeezing this with your fingers, and it'll pop up over the top. And then what I wanted to show you was this 10 amp keyed accessory power here that Honda supplies. It's right here. It's just right there. So we're gonna unhook this from here, take the dummy plug out of the end that's on there, and then this has 10 amps. So whatever you're putting on here, make sure you're not above 10 amps. So I'm gonna run, or else you'll blow the fuse. This is a fused hot, so that's nice. So my heated grips are gonna be, when they're all on, they're gonna be running, I think 2.5 to 3. And then I'm gonna run maybe a GPS, maybe a phone charger off that I'll put up here in the dash with a Lex mount system. I've got that right here. It just bolts under the dash. And very easy to wire up, and this is fused as well. So just a few things, but here's CRFs only, and you can find this other places too. You can get the 450 RL auxiliary power connector kit, and then that just gives you that connector that you need to plug into that OEM wiring harness. So that'll keep it clean, and that just gives you a ground and a hot wire. And then I can tie that into various things to power up some other things. So let's go ahead and start by getting some power. It took me a little bit to figure out how to get this clip off of this natural home that it rests on here, but it does pull back. And to get that off, I just simply slid my screwdriver in. I'll try to show this. In here. In there, and then I was able just to lift this tab back and off, and then that pulled out. And it came off real easy, actually. You could probably just yank it off with brute force, but I didn't want to break anything. And I put the screwdriver in this location there, right there, and then I was able just to detent that lightly as I was pulling this back. Okay, now it's just a matter of getting this dummy plug out of there, and it looks like there's just a place I'll squeeze here. I'll indent that little tab there and pull out on that, and should free that up. Okay, on this one you actually will pull this little piece down like that, and it exposes the tab, and then this will pull out. So I thought you pushed it over this way, but you don't. You actually push it down like that, and then that'll pull off of there. The dummy plug will pull out of the end. So this shows what you're pulling out. You just push that little tab, sorry, I'm moving around, down, and I grab this with the needle nose pliers as I depress that down, and this just pulls right out. Now you're ready to accept that electrical connection. Now you can make a nice clean connection. This will just insert right into there, no problem, just like that, and just it'll click. Excellent. I'm just going to run this up and along through here along the wiring harness, and we'll have power. I spray this ACF 50. I got it from Takamoto. It's just electrical connector anti-corrosion. I just spray it on anytime there's a new connector. I just spray it on there before I clip them together. And then this wire, I just kind of fed along the factory wiring harness up in here. And I clip that back on where it goes, and you cannot even see that wire. I just tucked it behind this one and then went underneath that. Went up through that, and now I'll have this wire up behind the headlight to do whatever I need to do with it. And it's plenty long enough, which is nice. So the next step is to, I'm going to work on the throttle side first. You just take out these two 8mm screws. This clamshell's apart, just like this. I love this little XC Gear tool holder. It just straddles your bike, and it has, this is magnetic and that's magnetic. Anyway, going back to this, the cams that appear to be the most closest fit to the OEM cam here is these two. This looks like it's marked B, and the other one is marked E. So let's see, we're going to look at both of these. This one would need a washer to get to the right width. This one looks like it's the right width. The kit provides a washer, so you can shim up as you need to. I'm going with the one marked E. It honestly looks identical. I mean, they're not side by side. I mean, they're side by side, but that one's going to work great. They actually look identical. Oh, that cam works perfect. Feels like nothing ever happened, and it looks factory too. Now we can put the little end in if we want. I did reposition my throttle a few times. I like this kind of at the bottom, so I can have this kind of here, and you don't see the wire so much, but you need to have it to where it's not going to, you know, hit anything. But that's typically where I put my wires, at the bottom. But you could, some people put them at the top, but this is just how I do it. And the nice part is with that cam, it's indexed, so you can rotate this to any position you want to fit in with the cam. So it's actually really, really nice. So here's the non-replaced side, and then here's the replaced side. So we're just going to take this off, get a screwdriver under there. You could cut it off. I usually put a screwdriver under there, squirt some rubbing alcohol underneath there, and then it'll just pull right off. Now that we have the old grip off, it's just a matter of putting the clamp-on grip. I like that these clamp on and don't glue on. Sometimes I'll spray a little rubbing alcohol inside of there so it'll just slide on easier. I position the wire so that it's at the bottom. It's a close match to the other side, and then this will just come down and around here and you won't see it. I did use this to lightly tap it on. I wouldn't try to smash it, but once that's on, then you just tighten up this Allen screw here and then put your little insert in the end of the bar. Here's the insert. It just comes to the end of the bar, and then it will just countersink and snap in there. And there's what it looks like with the end snapped on. And you can't even tell there's heated grips on here. And then this wire will just run along the handlebars and following these other cables. I should mention that the directions don't say to hammer these on. I mean, I was lightly tapping it. I think you can break the filaments inside of there, but every pair of heating grips I've had to put on, they need a little encouragement to go on, so I guess pound on those at your own risk. And again, don't pound, just kind of tap them on. So here's where I ended up putting the heated grip switch here, and it's got a low to high. I run it on high a lot. These don't get quite as hot as my Oxford grips, but they get very hot. They get hot enough to where I never needed them hotter, if that makes sense. So here's where I put the little switch that it comes with. It's really nice. And then it's just a matter of putting the wires, you know, tucked up behind the headlight. It's just going to ground and going to positive, and the connector that I showed under here, down under here, that is keyed, so that's great. It just comes on with keys, so I can't turn on these heated grips unless I turn the key on. And then now I can turn them on. So there you have it. I like them. They do get nice and warm. They have good grip. I would install them again. So if that says anything. I've had good luck with just the filaments that you put under standard grips on my other bikes. I've done a video on that. I put them on my KTM 300 because I want to run dirt bike grips. But the only thing is, with the throttle side, you'd have to get a throttle tube and then, you know, put the standard grip and filament under that. So I'm happy I bought the Koso grips. I'd do it again. I like that they're a standard size and they're not a big size. They're not bigger like some other grips. They was an easy install, and I'm happy with them. So hope this. The main reason I did this video is I wanted to show where to tap into the power, and then I also wanted to show which cam to use in here. That could be a sticking point for someone. The rest of it is pretty straightforward. Just a matter of, you know, mounting the switch where you want it, and, you know, hiding the wires behind there, going to positive, going to ground, to the, you know, the accessory wires that you ran up there. And that's it. So there they are. They look like they fit on the bike. You can't even, what I like best is you can't even tell that there's heated grips on here, but for Pacific Northwest riding, it's cold a lot, and I use heated grips a ton. These are the difference between riding with hands numb and riding with hands that are not numb. So, and you guys who ride, which if you're watching this video, you do, you know that having hands that aren't numb is a very, very positive thing.